Ladies and gentlemen, caffeine enthusiasts and champions of the cafe culture, welcome. It is India Food Forum. It's time to grind our ideas, roast our thoughts, and brew a storm of innovation. I would like to quickly call our fellow fraternity people, people from the coffee industry. I don't think so. We have people from the tea industry here in the panel. So first, I would like to call a recently made friend. No, he hasn't turned up. So we now are a coffee empire. So first up on stage, I would like to call a recently made dear friend now, Abhijeet Anand. He's the founder of abCoffee. I call it AB, but he calls it abCoffee. So apparently, abCoffee is more about specialty coffee being affordable as well as scalable. And currently, they have around 14 outlets, and they're expanding left, right, and center. I think he just opened up with IOCL, and they'll be coming up with around 100 stores now very soon. Clap for him. So next we've got Eesha Sukhi. She's from the Blue Bob Café, and they have a fabulous cafe by the day and bar by the night in Bandra, and it's a very famous place, and it's for the neighborhood as well as for the people around. It's on Linking Road. She has a fabulous concept, and she's a part of our panel, wherein she would tell about what is coffee by the day for her. Next up, we've got Mayank Gautam. He's managing director, Café Mocha. They run Café Mocha franchise in Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar. They've got many other brands under their hat. Welcome. Next, you got Shannon D'Souza. He is founder of KC Roasters. They were the pioneers in bringing the specialty coffee culture in India. They were one of the very first ones to venture into how coffee is sourced, how coffee is grown, to the end cup experience. Then we've got Warren Paul. He is CEO of Convenience, Jio-bp. Their brand of coffee is Wild Bean Cafe. And they've been opening a lot of cafes across. I think they have around 70 odd outlets in India currently, and they're opening more outlets. And next up on the panel, we've got Anindya Sengupta. He heads Fitwire Consumer. It's a healthy snacking brand. They are into healthy snacking as a category which is growing, and it's just an 8-month-old startup. They're doing phenomenally well. So shall we? Yeah. So a coffee session after, I think we are post the lunch time, and it's the coffee time, and we don't have anybody in terms of tea today. We've got all coffee players and one healthy snacking player. And let us start it with a lot of noise around how we start our day. It always starts with coffee. And I think we'll talk around how the rise of specialty coffee has been taken and how things are changing left, right, and center. How the entire aroma of freshly ground beans, the comforting warmth of your favorite cup, and the buzzing energy of a bustling cafe. That's what we're here to celebrate. The rise of specialty beverages, the creation of engaging spaces, and the integration of technology to elevate the cafe experience. Our panelists here are armed with insights and experiences, stories that will not just awaken your senses, but also inspire new wave of coffee house creations. So are we ready, guys? So first question, I think I'll ask Shannon. He was not a part of our pre-session meet, so it's better that he starts the session with his immense knowledge about specialty coffee. So, hi Shannon, how are you doing?
Yeah, keeping well.
Yeah. So, Shannon, tell me that given the surge in demand and growing popularity of specialty coffee, the trend predominantly thrives in local artisanal coffee shops. However, considering the significance of quality, unique taste profiles, and intricate sourcing processes, how feasible do you think it is for coffee brands to scale up in specialty segment?
I think that's the biggest challenge that a lot of our competitors or the industry has. I remember we started 7 years ago and it was Blue Tokai, Third Wave, and KC, and Bangalore, Delhi, and Bombay. And everyone kind of walked in and was like, oh, this is very scalable. Give it a few years, you could be at 300, 400 coffee shops. And from an outsider perspective, that looks very easy and very appealing. But the reason people want specialty coffee beverages is that because of the human interaction. They want someone to be making it, they want quality to be there, they want freshness to be there. And I think the hardest part the industry is going to face is how do we scale that up and still be providing both a specialty beverage, having that human interaction, both in the customer experience, but even having that in how the beverage is made. And the shift that's going to try and push that away is then trying to automize the process. So it's very easy to do coffee with automized processes, but that's not what got people into specialty coffee in India. It was very much that human interaction, barista connection, and then having someone make their coffee fresh for them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So, do you think that scaling up is something what you're looking at, or you want to be in the neighborhood, 2-3 neighborhoods, and not scale up that much?
I think we want to definitely scale up. I think 3-4 premises have to be there. You can't be thinking about how we're going to do 1,000 stores. You have to really work out how am I building a company where we can still offer experience and authenticity and really look after your staff and making sure that customers are paying the right price. The hardest part with scaling is that it becomes a revenue game. It becomes about lowering the price. It becomes about discounting. Once you start getting into that, then you start losing brand value very, very quickly. So I think scaling is there. You don't have to necessarily scale very, very quickly. You need to make sure that your experience factor continues to be there. Customers continue to come back and have a new experience, express new flavors and new customer experience every time. So yeah, scaling definitely pan-India, but it has to be staggered, it has to be slow, and you can't be too ambitious too quickly.
Thank you. So next up, I think I'll take this one with Mayank Gautam, because I believe Café Mocha is more about creating engaging spaces more than anything else. So, this one is to you. So, the coffee spaces, what revolutionary design element are you putting into play to ensure that every cup of coffee comes with a side which says, wow, this place is amazing?
Right. So, hello everyone. My name is Mayank, and we are the franchise owners for Mocha in Gujarat. So, I would just like to, thank everybody to be a part of this elite panel. And coming back to your question, so it's not just about the product itself anymore. So it's more about from the start to the end, whatever the guest journey that you are trying to create. So it's more about the engaging spacing is more about the staff that you have, because they are the brands that you're they are interacting with the guests. So it's more about the trained staff. It's more about the ambience. You cannot just do a standard restaurant anymore because of the competition that is being created in every place. So I feel staff, well-trained staff, well-groomed staff, interactive staff is more important. Secondly, it's about creating that vibe in your restaurant. So the culture is more about outdoor when it comes to Gujarat. Right now, I can't speak about Mumbai and other because I belong from Gujarat. So the culture is more about outdoors. So we are coming up with more engaging spaces. We are coming up with art and many other creating spaces in that manner. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. So Mocha has been one of the brands I think we all have grown seeing it from our very younger times, you know. I remember the Mocha you were talking about, the Churchgate one. You know, we all have seen Mocha there and we've seen how it has grown over a period of time. And now I think, you know, in Gujarat, Mocha is growing. So that's the kind of market. And obviously they're more about creating those individual standalone spaces, which makes the brand unique. Thank you, Gautam. So next up, we would like to ask another engaging space and you know ambience-related question. How to Eesha, basically because they are more of an experience-based cafe bar, which we understand. So, you know, what do you think is the game-changing design innovation, Eesha, from the kind of space you've created? And, you know, what are those out-of-the-box ideas from, you know, ordinary cafe bars to yours, which says that, you know, which makes everybody say that, you know, I want to be here. This is my place.
Sure. So that's, can you hear me? Yeah. So firstly, just to add to what, you know, he was saying earlier, for sure, today, like we're talking about millennials and Gen Zs, are looking at very different experiences. Everything is like the coffee shops overall are being looked at as social connection places where people want to work from, like especially after COVID. I think people like working from these spaces. People like hosting meetings. They like to catch up with their friends. So I think product and experience are both important, and to kind of keep delighting them, we have to kind of introduce interesting themes. So example, in the decor, it could be anything to do with art or just projecting the neighborhood artisanal, you know, kind of characteristics, coming up with interesting coffees, which are not really the conventional ones, but, you know, doing like a twist with very interesting flavors. So I think it's a combination of offerings with the ambience and the decor and, providing amenities like Wi-Fi, which is also so important, right? So it's a holistic approach, and saying that we are the one-stop place for you to come for any occasion, creating human connections, which is very important. Making sure the customers have the most fabulous experience from the time they enter to exiting through these 4 pillars, which is food as well, because food pairing, like example, we launched a bakery brand, like I was telling you, 8 months back, and we are now introducing a lot of interesting food that pairs very well with different kinds of coffee, right? So when you're there, you just want a holistic experience from all the 4 pillars, which is food, beverages, ambience, and the kind of, facilities that you get, like I said, like Wi-Fi or communal tables as well. You know, people like to actually meet here to get to know each other as well. And all the like-minded people want to come together. So a lot of coffee shops are doing live events. You know, like it could be book reading, it could be stand-up comedy. So everything holistically comes together to compel customers to visit a particular place and not B particular place. So that's how you kind of differentiate.
So like trying to make it a part of their daily routine
Yes.
is, and building connections.
For any
so I think a
occasion.
lot of us is talking about, we are all talking about how we can build in experience and deeper human connection is one of the things which I get out from this. That's the takeaway kind of a thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So Abhijeet, here, a specialty coffee question to you. Abhijeet is from abCoffee.
I like the way you call it.
Yeah. So basically, with India as a diverse market, how have you tailored your specialty offerings to suit taste of both Gen Z and millennials, ensuring your cafe becomes a go-to spot for the next gen seeking both experience and an exceptional cup of joe?
Thanks. That's quite an elaborate question. I'll try to break it down into smaller pieces.
Yes.
By the way, because it's been told AB and UB, it's UB and UB means now. So now it's now coffee on the go, right? Well, to answer your question, the entire coffee chain abCoffee has been inspired by the phenomena how Indians live, drink, sip, play, eat, and enjoy life. So what we envisioned was the neighborhood place in India, right from tier 4 cities and below or to tier 1 cities, one place that you always have common is your known tea joints or your known neighborhood joints where people assemble. So we took inspiration from that, and then we realized that there is a missing segment in the entire coffee ecosystem in India. While experience is very important for cafes to proceed, and that's what amazing folks in the panel are doing, and a couple of amazing cafe chains have established, there is a missing gap where coffee can become your daily lifestyle product, where product is the winner, where people come to that particular place for the product. And that's what we are about. So we're India's first specialty tech-enabled QSR specialty coffee chain. Very simply put, too many words I've used. Small outlets built for the masses, every single neighborhood, at pricing which people can consume coffee every single day, right? Our vision is to be 10,000 outlets pan-India. We want to be the neighborhood coffee place of the country. You think of coffee, you think of coffee. Right? So what we did was simple. What we did was we envisioned the entire plan. What do Indians like? What do Indians like in their coffees? Rather than getting inspired from the West, we went back to think Indians like thicker drinks. That's why we love cutting chai, correct? But historically, Indians love to drink something which is bold, red aroma. So we built the entire coffee roasting palette sourced from India, specialty grade, and built into a palette which we believe will relate to the masses. What do we do about it? We build small outlets. Our outlets are 120 square feet on an average. Smallest being 40 square feet, the largest being 220. And that's our model, right? It's pick and go, grab and go, or you get it on your home. How are we making it a lifestyle product? Our cappuccinos are 1/3 of the market pricing and is the highest rated coffee company in India today, wherever we are located. Any cafe chain, right? What did we do? Very simple. Built for the masses, the product that goes around can relate, and we tailored all the drinks around that Indian palate or what masses would like to drink. So that's our model. Gaurav, thanks for asking.
Indianized. So a lot of secret sauce revealed here.
Just being honest, right?
Yeah. So Warren, the next question is for you. You guys have been, pioneers in terms of creating that base, in terms of convenience cafes, which have been there. It's been a 10 years or 15 years back also. There were players who were building around stores in the petrol pumps, in the petrol stations, and there has been a kind of question mark when it comes to scaling coffee, or not just scaling coffee, but selling coffee or food products in such stations. How do you address that situation at large?
Okay, good question, and one that keeps me awake every single night. I think, whenever you look at, a coffee shop or a food outlet, doing it, where you actually are there, 24 hours a day yourself is easy to manage if it's in your town, if it's in one city. The minute you start scaling up across, pan-country, and then in more rural locations on highways, it gets more difficult. Yeah. We have 74 outlets open across 15 states currently. We have 100 under construction. We plan to open minimum 200 per year. And the things that are the most challenging for us is how do you get that product there, transported in the quality that you want? How do you actually store it? How do you make sure that the people that are working there are trained and capable to deliver that experience to the customer every single time? And give the customer the experience they want. In India, there's 80,000 fuel stations, and less than 500 currently have a food offer coffee shop. So, part of it is not only getting those bits right, but also educating the customer. Now, how do they know that you've got a coffee shop or a convenience store when they're not used to doing that? People go to fuel stations to buy fuel, and they buy coffee and food somewhere else. So we're doing a lot of work at the moment around how we really differentiate the look and the feel of our cafes, how we actually really brand and give the customer the experience that they want. We pride ourselves, in terms of the quality of the product, but a price that everyone can afford. We just heard around how do you make it available to the masses, and I think that's the prize, where you can actually get a quality product that someone can actually have day in, day out, because without that scale, you're never actually going to be able to make those units profitable. So no matter how small you go or how large, you need to get throughput where customers are using you daily.
So fueling at the station and fueling your own self, it is a marriage or it's not a marriage?
We want to make sure that when you choose us, we have all of those needs, whether it's electric charging, traditional fuels, food, whatever it is. We want to create that experience for the customer time and time again.
Cool. So the next question we have for Anindya Sengupta. So Anindya, tell me about your category. You are into the health category, and health category and healthy snacking is obviously a very different segment when it comes to coffee. So you're more into that kind of a segment, but we normally see a lot of such healthy snacking getting picked up from the counter when you go to Starbucks, you go to Tim Hortons. How do you want to position your product in a manner in such kind of cafes? Where do you see yourself in terms of growing? I believe you just mentioned that it's been 8 months to your startup, and you've just placed your product. So what is your entire positioning strategy of a healthy snacking brand like yours?
Yeah, thanks. So as you rightly told, Fitwire Consumer has been recently started. So under that, our flagship brand is Nutribinge, wherein we want to democratize healthy snacking. So we'll be present in various channels across India for various income classes. So for Tim Hortons or Starbucks, our positioning of the products will be different compared to grab and go type of stores where we are. Similarly, in the general trade market, we are present in some of the modern trade outlets, but also in the Kirana outlets. So depending upon the various channels, we are preparing strategy for having SKUs and flavors or products positioned to cater to those audiences. So since being a just started brand, we have now focused mainly on the online marketplaces as well as the general trade, Kirana and A+ stores. But going forward, our next strategy is to go into Horeca channel, which is the hotels, restaurants, and cafe. And under that, there will be specialty shops or various premium outlets, like where we'll be partnering with the various cafes to position our brands. As well as there will be big chains like Starbucks, where we'll try to do joint partnering with them. And the packaging will also be developed in such a way that even our brand name gets positioned and people get to be aware about our brand when they're purchasing from these big chains. So that's our next phase of growth, which we'll see. And according to us, India is a big place, as we know. The coffee culture is relatively new, unlike tea, which has been there for last hundreds of years. Recently, last 10, 20 years, the coffee culture has seen a boom. And along with that, the nuts, dry fruits, as well as healthy snacking. That's a good addition to that. And because of the cafes, even healthy snacking products are getting consumed quite more. So our strategy is like that. So phase-wise, we have thought of doing the scaling up. So that's the thing.
Cool. So next up, I think, let us make this, this was more of an introductory question based on your persona and your brand. I think we'll take common questions around these 3 segments which we are talking about: specialty coffee, engaging spaces, and third is the tech integration to make our experiences better. So I think the first question, you can randomly tell me that who wants to take this up. So the first question is around the tech integration for the enhanced experiences. So as cafes increasingly integrate technology into their operations, what role do you see emerging technologies playing in enhancing consumer engagement and convenience? So who'd like to take this up?
So I think, especially again after COVID, tech integration has become extremely critical to most industries, and especially the F&B industry. I would say from a convenience perspective, also from just an operational efficiency perspective. So just two examples I would like to give is, you know, a lot of brands have started launching loyalty programs, you know, and mobile apps, which really help to reduce the waiting queues, and you know, a lot of times they kind of place an order on the app and they get you know, points, reward points. So that's one integration. Second is a lot of contactless menus and digital interactive screens, you know, which you know, help the customer. It's very dynamic and it helps the customer to kind of, you know, interact and personalize their order as well. And I would say thirdly, overall, even in terms of equipment, like coffee machines and, you know, brewing machines, I've been using a lot of, you know, smart assessment to pouring high quality beverages, you know. And lastly, the entire data mining perspective, which we were talking about, which is about looking at predictive data, you know, using AI as well to look at past customer trends, purchasing history, repeat visits, looking at how you can customize offerings, looking at special occasions of customers like birthdays and anniversaries, and you know, looking at lapsed customers and how to kind of win them back. So a lot of technology is going into CRM compared to before to make it easier for brands to slice and dice the data and come up with personalized solutions to win the customer back or increase repeat visits. So this is what I would say.
Yeah, rightly said. Abhijeet, you'd like to take this up?
Yeah, and I'll probably start with Paul. I think, you know, very nice conversation in terms of you fuel people, right? So we just announced a massive collaboration for Indian Oil for 6,000 outlets for pan-India expansion on the go. So now we become competitors, per se, right? We are friends here. So, you know, what we say there is, we fuel you while you fuel your car. Coffee fueling humans and Indian Oil or Jio-bp fueling cars. Why I say this and I start with the answer is that I think the entire space, specifically the quick service restaurant space or the space that we are in, which is grab and go outlets, can only be enabled on two particular pillars. One is convenience and the second one is efficiency. How do you bring both while making sure everything is standardized? There's only one way to do that. In addition to barista training and efficiency and the stuff, is technology, right? So what we did was here is that three things. Number one, our outlets have been configured in a way that you don't have to queue up and you don't have to come in. So it's simply you go order.abcoffee.in, you find all the outlets, upcoming ones, simply order it. The order gets ready, you get a notification, you simply grab it and leave. Second aspect that we built up was the efficiency part of it, which makes the entire process seamless. So entire process, which is a 7-step process, again, complicated in terms of how coffee brews up. Everybody on the panel and audience will be aware it's a special process in itself, has to be done in a particular time, and that adds convenience. The third aspect is efficiency, to make sure what happens with the ordering process that goes through, number one. Number two, what goes behind the scene. And number three, how do you tie them all together so that your real estate is built or structured in a way which enables that process, right? And I got inspired, and I believe that's one of the pioneers in the industry uses it, which is Toyota, which is, they use Jidoka method, right? So the way our cafes, and we call it decks, D-E-C-K-S, the decks are set up is that entire process should be in the hand range of baristas. If they're not, something is wrong, right? So I think these three processes helped, and that's where I say, specifically for QSR, I'm agnostic to any particular sector. Technology today is a must.
I'm just going to flip it a little bit in terms of technology. It isn't just there for the customer experience. It's also, you know, we talked earlier about scale. And one of the things that's important to us is, you know, as you scale up, you need to make sure that, you know, every single coffee machine, every single, you know, credit card machine, every till is working, you know, as close to 100% as it can be. So having that data in real time is extremely important. So we also not only use the technology side to give the customer the experience that they want, but also making sure that our equipment is actually working to be able to do that. So many of the outlets, when we're talking about 15, 20 square meter outlets, you have the luxury of only one coffee machine. And therefore, if it's broken down, the customer is not going to get the cappuccino or the latte or whatever they want. So therefore, being able to have it, operating 98, 99% of the time, you need to use that technology side. And therefore, that's become extremely valuable to us as we start to scale up. That how can you actually manage and keep the equipment working as well?
One more to add. I just feel like tech allows you to individualize the customer experience. Any business, you're kind of looking at a spreadsheet, you're looking at big numbers, you're looking at a lot of people. And as a brand, it's always great meeting your customers because they always are like, oh, I saw this product or I experienced this, and it's really special to them. And I think tech, other than just consistency that it provides or machines or all of these things are important, but I think individualizing that customer experience and making them feel they have a two-way communication with the brand is a really, really important part of it. And I think even apps like this, like Swiggy and Zomato, have done a great job in using that to still have memberships or interaction with the customer. But I think tech also allows for that relationship to occur.
But do you think that, okay, we've been doing a lot of tech in the background, in the operations, we've been talking about the CRMs, knowing the customer, knowing how to make sure that, your equipments are working correct or probably your data is right. Do you think, from the operational perspective, can we go to a level wherein you guys might have seen the videos around like, a robotic barista or, AI in coffee? What are the thoughts here in terms of going that crazy in terms of technology wherein, we can have a coffee GPT maybe?
I think human interaction is what makes coffee the most interesting part. Like, we go and visit farms, we like to interact with our customers, but I actually think customers don't want this roboticized kind of environment. I think this kind of slow coffee movement, the fact that someone's individually making your product, I think that's where it's going to. And you see this in mixologies, you see this in chef experiences. So I know the QSRs and stuff really thrive on this fact of automation. But I think on the more premium side, which is where specialty coffee is, that human interaction is so important for the customer to pay that premium price. And I think premiumization of the product will always have human interaction. And that will be the big push and pull with AI coming into the space about how much we kind of allow for it to happen. But particularly in the premiumization part of it, I think human interaction is super important.
So knowing the name is not important, knowing the choice is important. Yes?
No, I think name's very important. I think that's why individualization is so important. I think that's the most important part. I think that's why people love it. The name of our brand's called Koinonia Coffee Roasters, and Koinonia just means community. It means the fact that you share time with people. Our whole thing in COVID was about don't come to the coffee shop. It was about bring the coffee shop home, And I think the reason people want to have coffee is you don't want to sit down and have a cup of coffee by yourself. You really want to have it with people or really while you're working. And so I think if we start to take away that human interaction too much, I just think people will feel there's something soulless that's come about the process. Imagine if we had farms where we didn't talk about people picking the cherries and processing it and kind of that interaction, and it was just all machines. I think it would take away from that in any industry, like whether you're talking about whiskey, whether you're talking about wine. Something that makes it really special is the fact that people are passionate about it and that kind of human interaction or that love and care into the product, which,
Sure. Do you think we've got lesser time for Q&A? We should have the Q&A right now?
I do think so. It's a coffee session and I see some people yawning. It's not a great thing to see, to be honest. I'm sad there.
I think one of us should have gone.
Coffees here.
One of us should have actually got coffees here served while the session was on.
Me, I get them now. I mean, I don't mind.
So we would like to take questions. So we've just got 5 minutes left.
Hello everyone. This is Saptarshi, and my question is to both of you, sir, that you are planning to bring coffee on the go, primarily to the petrol pumps and all. So my question is that are you focusing on the city petrol pumps or only majorly on the highway bit of it? Because my next part of the question will relate to the answer of this question.
Maybe Paul, you go ahead. That's gas station specific.
Could you just repeat the question? I didn't hear quite what you...
So are you planning to put this coffee on the go in the gas station of the cities or on the highways?
Okay, so we're predominantly on the highways.
Exactly.
So if you take the existing Jio-bp network, we're 90% on the highways and about 10% in more urban locations. Our long-term goal is 5,000 petrol pump locations, predominantly on the highway. So I think, you know, if you look at someone like Shell, they've gone mainly into city center locations, very few cities. We've done the exact opposite to what they've done. I think it's more tough at the beginning to go onto the highways because of all of the logistic problems and customers not expected. But I think the longer term, as more and more people go longer distances, the road infrastructure expands. I think the highways are where the opportunity is going to lie. But as I say, it's short term, it's a little bit more difficult to get the turnover in some of those locations, changing those customers' habits. But as I say, that's the route that we're taking.
Yeah, thanks. But then if it is a city-based, do you think the kind of traffic people are going through and parking their car in a petrol pump in a queue, and then do they have the time or the willingness to get down and buy a coffee and drink on the go? And will it be advisable to take a carry-out drive with a hot cup of coffee where probably only 10 to 15% of Indian population drives an automatic car, rest are on the manual? So how do you see that consumer behaving on that aspect?
Yeah, so I can tell you based on our locations are urban. So I think always making sure you've got enough parking spaces, the ability to either pull off the pump and park outside the building is quite important. As a company, I work for BP, around the world, wherever we put convenience offers and attract many non-fuel customers, the challenge is always how you split between people wanting to fill up and get out quickly and people that actually want to spend the time. Each of our locations, we put a small amount of seating in, and even though customers are in a hurry, it's amazing how many people actually want to take those, even if it's just 3 or 4 minutes, just to rest before they continue. So in some of our locations, especially urban ones, we're actually having to increase the amount of seating because we're actually finding we haven't got enough seating for that demand. But it's always that balance around not actually slowing customers' journey and being able to give them a product that if they actually want to continue the journey, that we actually make it easy for them to consume as well. Good questions that are really important as you start to expand that kind of network.
I mean, since we are doing with Indian Oil, we have a bit different stance. I'll just answer
Go on.
We are focusing more on the urban side because we believe the customers in the urban side understand coffee better. That's our positioning at the moment, and it can be more grab and go. Just to answer your last, how do you make it convenience? People are still grabbing burgers when they do drive-thrus. It's just a matter of making the convenience, beverage packaging convenient. That's it. Thank you.
Nice one. So last question, anyone? So I think we'll end the session here, and I think it's time up already. Oh, if you can serve, if you can get us served coffee, then.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yep, go ahead. You waited until we were down to 30
faster.
I wasn't sure. Okay, so I just want to know from you that you just said that you are catering to the masses and getting the coffee prices down. So does that, do you think, does that affect the coffee experience or premiumity or taste of that particular beverage? Because there is so much coming up in the coffee and there are so many outlets around and people do love the premiumity and the specialty coffee coming around. Does the price actually affect the experience when you lower it down?
For me?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Super. Thank you. Coffee market in general operates at a gross margin of 80 to 95%. Or a lot of people may not be aware. There is absolutely no way in the world that you can play with quality in India. No way. The price can attract you for the very first time. The quality is something that will keep you. So my very simple answer to that question is, for example, we do specialty coffee, right? So when we compare ourselves, we say either we do the best coffee in the country, all comparable, or we don't. And then you play around in the model, how you save cost internally such that the benefit can be passed externally to the consumers or the guests, right? And if you see globally, Luckin has 12,000 stores. Haiti has 10,000 stores. The entire West flourishes in grab and go. The concept is nascent in India. It's not native for India. But if you look at it, chai has been joins. It's actually native, just the beverage is not native. Somebody has not taken a venture into getting it done. Somebody has not taken the risk to get it done. And that's where we come in. Premium quality, right pricing for the masses. Thank you.